Hi there. Today's video we are gonna focus on polynomial. Polynomial are very big concept in algebra. Now before we understand what's polynomial are, we first pay attention in term. In algebra, terms are mathematical expression that are made of two different parts, a number part and variable part. In a term, a number part and variable part multiply together. The number part are very simple, like any number, for example 5, 1.9, 6. And number part has official name called coefficient. But the variable part are little more complicated. It can be made one or more variable that raised to a power. For example x square and y. Here y is same as a variable raised to the first power. Since the exponent 1 doesn't change anything, so we don't need to actually show it. But sometimes term or variable part could be some tricky combination of variable that raised to the power x square, y square, a b square, c cube, x cube, y. But the good news is that most of time you only need to the term that have one or maybe two variable. Now let's see how this basic idea of term help you to understand the basic idea of polynomial. So it's a series of term and linked together using adding or subtraction. And polynomial can be made of any number of terms joined together. Now here is some equation for you. Now how can you find that how many terms does this polynomial have? Well, we just learned if the terms are parts that are joined together by adding or subtraction, then that's mean they should have 3 polynomials. But there is some missing in second and third term. The middle part term missing is number part, that's 1, because it's always a factor of any number. And since multiply 1 has no effect on a number or variable, so we don't need to show it. But the coefficient of it is 1. Now what about this last term? That missing his variable part. Well, this is something trickier. But as you know in algebra, any number or variable that raised to the 0th power is equal to 1. Now what about its power? As you remember, any number that raised to the first power is itself. So that's mean this is same as the first power. So as you see the pattern, each term has a number part and each term has a variable part. That's 0, 1 and 2. Since x to the 0 is just 1, y to the 1 is just y, and anything multiplied by 1 is itself. So the polynomial is simplified, and the last term called the constant term because its values always stay the same. Now there is few specific name to describe polynomial with certain number of terms. Like if there is one term that's called monomial because prefix is mono means 1. If there is two terms called binomial because prefix is bi means 2. If there is 3 terms called trinomial because prefix is tri means 3. If there is more than 3 terms, then we just call polynomial because prefix is poly means many. Now we learn some property of the term called the degree. The degree of term is determined by the power of the variable. So if there is 4th, then we say that the degree of the term is 4th, or there is 4th degree term. But if there is 3, then we say that the degree of the term is 3 or 3rd degree term. But if it has square, then we say that the degree of the term is 2nd or the 2nd degree term. And if there is no power, then we say that the degree of the term is 1st or the 1st degree term. And the no variable part called the 0 degree term, and also called the constant term. Now what about this one if you have more than one variable? How can you find the degree of this term? Well, for this you need to add up the power of each variable to get the degree of term. So the degree of the term is 7 because 3 plus 4 is 7. Now some of you might thinking that why we care about degree. So here is the answer, that degree of the term is help us to decide the arrangement of polynomial from highest to lowest. For example, this polynomial which has 5 terms. So the higher degree term is left and the lower degree term is on the right. Now what about this one? How can you arrange this from highest to lowest? In this polynomial, the higher degree term is 6x4. But before we move it in the front of polynomial, it's important to notice that it got a minus sign in the front of it. When we see a minus sign, we think of subtraction. That means the term right after it has the negative value or the negative coefficient. So when you arrange it from the highest to the lowest degree, you see that the negative sign has to come with it. But if you don't want to bring negative sign with it, then it will change into positive sign term, which would actually change the value of polynomial. This positive sign has changed into negative, this negative sign has changed into positive, and this positive sign has changed into negative sign. Alright, we learned many things in this video. Hope so you understand and like my video. But if you still have some questions, please leave your question in the comment box. See you in the next video.